Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video on my channel, Hairliciously. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe so that you guys are updated on hair loss and hair transplant topics, as well as updates on current hair loss treatments in the pipelines. Visit my website at HAIRLICIOUSLY.com to purchase your microneedling device, which is scientifically proven to stimulate hair growth, my low-level laser therapy cap, DHT blocking shampoo, conditioner, and serum, hair growth vitamins, and a few other products to help those who are losing hair. So in today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about one of the first OG YouTubers. His name is Furious Pete, who is a competitive eater and bodybuilder. And just growing up, I used to love watching his videos on just competitive eating, devouring anything from like these massive pizzas to 7-pound burritos. Just these crazy eating stunts, and it was just fascinating to see him and other YouTubers like Matt Stoney do these crazy food challenges. And while all of his videos were fun and gravy, things actually took a sharp turn in 2014, and he unfortunately was diagnosed with testicular cancer at the young age of 28. So he started documenting his experience and journey with cancer and surgery on his YouTube channel. Unfortunately, he eventually had to remove one of his testicles after undergoing surgery to remove the malignancy from potentially spreading to other organs and other parts in his body. And while testicular cancer is rare compared to other types of cancers, it's actually one of the more common cancers in males between the ages of 15 and 35. But the good thing is that it is highly treatable, even when cancer has spread beyond the testicles. And the 5-year relative survival rate is over 90% thanks to the fact that testicular cancer stem cells tend to be more sensitive to chemotherapy than stem cells found in other types of cancers. So people who undergo treatment are able to be in remission even in later stages of testicular cancer. And because it is one of the more common cancers in males specifically, you really need to make sure and do your due diligence that you're monitoring your testicles on a monthly basis, usually through self-examination and noting for any changes in lumps or size. But anyway, he was diagnosed again with testicular cancer for the second time in 2015, underwent radiation treatment, and was in remission once again. The thing with testicular cancer is that recurrence can happen in like 10 to 30% of men who initially was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And this generally happens within the first 2 years after remission. And unfortunately, the cancer did come back in 2016 for the third time. And he once again began chemotherapy to treat his cancer. And finally, during one of his follow-up visits a few years later, a test revealed another malignant growth on his remaining testicle. Pete's cancer had returned for the fourth time in January of 2019, and finally the doctor recommended that he have his his remaining testicle to be removed so that he can be cancer-free. He made the difficult decision, took the doctor's advice, and underwent surgery to remove his last remaining testicle. And fortunately, he has been in remission ever since. And I just really have to give it to this guy for being able to overcome something just so difficult like this and just staying mentally sane at the same time. I think for me, like the whole psychological and mental and physical aspect would just really screw me up, just knowing that I had relapsed, not just once or twice, but a total of 4 times. And on top of that, having to remove not just one, but both testicles would just completely just fuck me up in the head. And throughout some of Pete's videos on his recovery, he did talk about his mental struggles, dealing with this aspect. But eventually, he came to terms with it and realized that, what matters the most is the fact that he is healthy, he is alive, and he is cancer-free. So in Furious Pete's case, he was basically castrated as a result of his medical condition. And we know that at least in the hair loss community, there are people who were either purposely castrated or they're born with a 5-AR enzyme deficiency, which prevents testosterone from converting into DHT. And from both cases, we know that this will lead to the prevention of hair loss. It's obviously not the most optimal solution in treating hair loss as far as castration is concerned, since most people do not want to purposely go out and get their 2 testicles removed unless they're either transitioning from male to female or they either have some type of medical condition like in the case of Furious Pete. But we do know for a fact that castration is going to stop further progression of hair loss, and if it's also done prior to puberty, men will generally not experience any hair loss. Because 95% of the primary sex hormone testosterone is made from our testicles and the remainder from the adrenal glands, castrated men are going to be able to wipe out nearly all levels of testosterone that is being produced in the body. And this is very important because we know that the enzyme 5-alpha reductase catalyzes the formation of DHT from testosterone, which is going to be much more potent and androgenic than testosterone itself by several folds due to its higher binding affinity. So if the majority of testosterone is removed through castration, we can't have that conversion of DHT causing havoc to our hair follicles, and therefore we are going to be able to maintain and stop hair loss from ever happening. And like I said, this is confirmed through multiple well-known studies that showed castrated men did not develop androgenic alopecia, even years and years later down the road. So going back to Furious Pete, the interesting thing about him was that he was also suffering from androgenic alopecia well before he had his testicles removed due to cancer. We can see older videos of him on his YouTube channel prior to his cancer diagnosis that he was still losing a good amount of hair. This clip was shot in August of 2017 when he still had one remaining testicle left. And even with just one testicle, the body is able to produce sufficient amounts of testosterone, although, there might be a risk of testosterone deficiency in some people. But we can clearly see a Norwood 3 pattern hair loss, maybe even like a 3A going on. And if we go even further back into 2011, way before he had his first onset of testicular cancer, we can see a much fuller head of hair, although he was still clearly suffering from androgenic alopecia, but at a much more mild extent. Even after his first testicle was removed and with potentially lower levels of testosterone circulating in his body, he was still afflicted with progressive hair loss because the body was still producing enough testosterone, which had converted into DHT and caused havoc to his hair. The caveat here being is that Pete is obviously a bodybuilder. We're assuming that he wasn't on any anabolic androgenic steroids, which could have accelerated his hair loss in the process. And as far as I know, he didn't seem to be on any steroids, but like I said, this is just speculation and I could just be totally wrong. And then we fast forward to this video in June 2020 with his girlfriend basically just shaving his head. We can see some clear significant miniaturization that has happened to his frontal region of the hairline and also into his mid-scalp and crown area over the years. This was actually about a year and a half after he had both his testicles removed, which means that he had still continued to lose hair, especially if you guys compare to the hair from a video in 2018. There's definitely a lot more density in this clip here, so even after his 2 testicles were removed, he had still continued to miniaturize. He should have technically and theoretically halted hair loss with testosterone levels just being nearly wiped out, but the reason for Furious Pete's case of continued miniaturization was that he had actually started TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy treatment, because his body was no longer producing the majority of testosterone, which had come from the testes, and was simply functioning on adrenal steroid production. And with testosterone still being an anabolic androgenic steroid, it is going to continue to exacerbate male pattern hair loss, especially if you guys are exogenously supplementing it to natural levels of testosterone in the body. And most people are going to need TRT treatment for the rest of their lives because there are side effects from being testosterone deficient. It can result in things like lower bone mass, lead to osteoporosis, muscle wasting, reduction in sexual drive and sexual dysfunction. And for Pete, being a bodybuilder, he definitely is going to need testosterone replacement to activate androgen receptors and transcribe anabolic and androgen effects in tissues in the body. So all in all, it's very likely that, Furious Pete will continue to lose hair given his lifetime commitment to TRT. But, at this point, I don't even think that he cares, and he probably will look good with a shaved head if he decides to go through that route later on. He's been mainly covering, up his head just by wearing hats in most of his recent videos. And overall, he is now cancer-free and he is healthy. And if you guys were wondering, with 2 testicles removed, you are still able to ejaculate and still able to have sex and all of that, but you won't be able to produce sperm. So you'll likely have to freeze your sperm if you ever want to have a kid later down the road before you proceed with getting your 2 testicles removed. And I think that is what Furious Pete did. But yeah, that wraps up this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Most importantly, guys, make sure to get your balls checked on a monthly basis. It's really not that hard, and it could really be a lifesaver. Remember, health always comes first before hair, and without good health, nothing is truly going to matter. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Leave me some comments in the comment section below if you have any questions, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Take care.